Even though the Open is Oppo's stablemate OnePlus first foldable, our reviewer was pleased. Since the OnePlus Open reached the market, Samsung has released the Galaxy Z Fold 6, trying to show once again it has the device to beat. We have now thoroughly examined both of these foldable Android phones, and we will discuss how they differ and which one is the best foldable phone. While the core notion of having a little tablet screen that folds shut to fit in your pocket is pretty standard, how various manufacturers do this varies. This implies that the OnePlus Open and Z Fold 6 have a surprisingly large amount of design variance. Samsung's slimmer design is instantly visible. When closed, it is nearly 5mm smaller, and when opened, it is 10mm smaller. It's also thicker, not including the camera bumps. Nonetheless, the Z Fold 6's design makes it more compact, simpler to grasp with one hand, and more portable in a pocket. And the camera designs are undoubtedly unique. Samsung's design on the Z Flip 6 exemplifies simplicity, but OnePlus seems to have taken the route of fitting in the greatest cameras it could and then figuring out the design afterward. As a result, there was a massive lump in the center of the back. However, there is one modest advantage. Being in the center prevents the Open from wobbling when lying on its back. Other design considerations include the Z Flip 6's waterproofing. IP68 certification indicates that submersion in shallow water is not an issue, but the OnePlus Open only offers IPX4 splash protection. Both phones have a robust and smooth hinge mechanism. They won't spring back like other models, so they'll hold any angle as long as it's not too severe. Samsung has upgraded the Z Fold 6's cover display, the screen on the exterior, to make it broader and more usable than before, but it still falls short of the OnePlus Open's performance. Both are around 6.3 inches and crisp enough to read without difficulty. However, the OnePlus Open's outside display is broader and significantly simpler to use as a conventional smartphone display than the Samsung option. Typing and responding to messages is more comfortable on the OnePlus Open, and video, especially 16:9 or 18:9 ratio video, is better suited to that display because of its greater surface area. For that reason alone, we preferred the OnePlus over the Samsung when closed. Samsung does have an advantage in terms of total brightness. The Z Fold 6's exterior screen performs better in strong daylight outdoor scenarios, particularly when framing images via the camera app. It simply appeared a little easier to see and less affected by reflections. However, the OnePlus Open has not only a superior external screen, but also a robust one inside. It is larger and sharper than the Z Fold 6 panel. It also has a slightly different aspect ratio, which, like the cover screen, makes it seem larger in many cases. There is more area for video when you view it full screen with a hinge vertical. YouTube also occupies more space when turned 90 degrees. Part fold it, and the difference in video size isn't that evident. They're rather comparable. However, the OnePlus Open's display truly shines when you make use of the software's multitasking capabilities. Placing two applications side by side makes them seem less small and tight, expanding to make text and visuals clearer and simpler to understand. However, since you can enlarge them, then slide them off to one side, or even arrange them such that a third is added to the mix, including one full-screen video app underneath or above the other two, it's almost as if the display canvas extends beyond the limits of the real display. Of course, that's an illusion, but it offers the impression of having more area to play with, all owing to some nicely crafted software. In terms of color and display quality, the Z Fold 6 is the most colorful and brilliant. The OnePlus Open, by default, has a more subdued appearance. If you choose, you may change the color temperature and use more colorful tones. The Galaxy Z Fold 6 has a comprehensive suite of AI functions, known as Galaxy AI. You may summarize the content, translate it, and check for spelling and tone. The Gallery app also has generative AI, tools for producing selfie pictures or doodling on images, which are then turned into digital objects. As a Samsung phone, the Z Fold 6 incorporates DeX, which turns your phone into a little PC, as well as the folding flex mode interface, which allows you to push any app to the top area of the display when part folded and transform the bottom half into a touchpad for controlling it. Finally, the S Pen compatibility allows you to draw on the display with a pen. Samsung will also provide longer-term software upgrades for this phone. OnePlus will do 4 years, whereas Samsung will complete 7 full years. Cameras are an important element of any contemporary smartphone experience, so if the two phones have a similar design, you could assume that the experience of using them and the performance of their cameras would be comparable. To some degree it is, but there are certain distinctions worth noting. For example, although each may feature a primary, ultra-wide and telephoto 3x zoom camera on the back, the differences in sensors, focal lengths, and aperture all play a role, as does the fact that Samsung and OnePlus handle light, color, and detail differently. Overall, the OnePlus Open produces superior images in daytime circumstances. In contrast to the cooler Samsung, the color processing has a somewhat warmer, golden tone. The Z Fold 6 often fails to contain some of the highlights and reflections, such as strong sunlight on foliage. But the OnePlus Open does it more efficiently, ensuring that the brilliant areas of the shot are not just overexposed regions of white light. When you use zoom, the higher the megapixel count of the camera's sensor, the more information you get in your images. Both suffer significantly after 10x magnification, although the OnePlus seems to do better in terms of processing. The OnePlus ultra-wide camera is its flaw. Compared to other rear lenses, the results may be harsh. Overall, I thought that Samsung was far heavier on artificially sharpening details, which is especially noticeable when using the different night modes. It gives certain nighttime images a more artificial appearance, as does the fact that it sucks in a lot of light, cools down the bright white light, and adds a green tinge. There's no denying that night mode photos from the Z Fold 6 are brighter, and when you use that mode, it appears to capture for a second or more. However, the texture and sharpness, detail processing, and warmer light give the OnePlus results a more realistic appearance, which I much prefer. When looking at video footage, you may detect comparable variances between the shots. The video from the OnePlus Open is warmer, but it seems softer in terms of clarity and sharpness. Samsung, on the other hand, appears to be better at stabilizing movement and keeping the movie smooth while walking or moving at 4K resolution with 60 frames per second. The Samsung Z Fold 6 outperforms the OnePlus Open in terms of power and performance. And there's a very easy explanation for this. The OnePlus phone has Qualcomm's 2023 flagship CPU, while the Fold 6 has 2024's. In casual usage, it isn't very visible. However, when you start pushing the phone to its limits, like running visually intensive games and stress testing benchmarks, the Fold 6 may achieve greater performance. The Z Fold 6 has a 4,400 mAh battery. The OnePlus Open, on the other hand, has an internal battery capacity of 4,805 mAh. The OnePlus Open has a bigger battery, but it also boasts larger screens. Is it better for battery life though? Well, certainly, but not by much. The battery life of the Galaxy Z Fold 6 was greater than that of the Galaxy Z Fold 5. Both devices can get more than 7 hours of screen time, depending on how you use them. Of course, using the cover display is essential, as is avoiding overtaxing programs. If you use your phone a lot throughout the day, you're likely to fall short of the 7-hour screen-on time limit. Your mileage may vary, it all depends. Battery life is an extremely subjective concept. The key is that both smartphones have excellent battery life. The OnePlus Open charges quicker than the Galaxy Z Fold 6, although the latter is more adaptable. The OnePlus Open supports 67-watt conventional and reverse wired charging, but not wireless charging. The Z Fold 6 supports 25-watt wired, 15-watt wireless, and 4.5-watt reverse wireless charging. The OnePlus Open will charge far quicker than its competition. In contrast to the Z Fold 6, it includes a charger in the package. Both of these phones are fantastic, but we believe the OnePlus Open is the clear winner. Despite being an older phone, we found it considerably easier to use daily. We liked the camera results, especially the zoom cameras, the absence of a crease on the internal display, as well as the more functional cover screen on the exterior are significant advantages. Furthermore, its battery lasts longer and charges more quickly. So tell us what you think about this comparison in the comments section. Then I will see you in the next one. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.